Guys, got a new Blitz game here. I'm a little bit out of practice because I haven't played much chess in the last maybe week. So I'm hoping this won't be a tactical disaster. Alright, what should I play here? Maybe knight f6. And then he could use the fork trick, couldn't he, with knight takes e5. Okay, c3. If I castle here, he goes d4. I'm kind of just going to hope that the variations work out okay after that. It's so hard to remember all of these tricky lines in e4, e5, though. Okay, so we can take on d4 and then move the bishop somewhere. And if he's going to do that, then I think we're going to go d5 here, threatening his bishop on c4. This is a normal response to white's e5 in e4, e5 openings. If he plays c takes d4, maybe I'll just go bishop b6. And if he takes my knight on f6, of course I'll take, on c4. He retreats. Okay, that's curious, because I can go knight e4 now. And if he takes on d4, he doesn't have a bishop h7 check at some point to reveal the queen's control of d4, because my knight's on e4. Oh, but he can probably just take on e4. But at that point, d takes e4 would help me control d4 again. So this was probably not the way to go with white, but I was probably also headed down a bad direction, a bad path with black. c4. c4. Okay, so we've got a passed pawn on d4. He cannot play b4 yet. Kind of would like to play knight b4. If the bishop goes back to e2, I could play d3, or I could take on c4 and then play d3. Let's try that. And if he takes on e4, then after d takes e4, okay, we're going to take this bishop off the board and then recapture. Oh, but he has knight c3, but I can play knight takes c3, I think. And then after b takes c3, bishop to g4 perhaps. Yeah, so what's the pawn situation after all this clears up? Knight takes d4, bishop to b6. He's going to be missing 2 pawns, I'm missing 2 pawns, so... Okay, so bishop takes f3 here looks strong. I think he should have played knight takes d4. Okay, and now we go queen takes d4 just to keep things simple. And at the end we have a fork of rook and e5 pawn. Oh, he has an attack on the b7 pawn, so maybe I should have thought about this some more, but not really. He has a messed up pawn structure and we're up a pawn, so it should be good. Alright, b6. We'll bring the rooks to the center and we'll play c5. Let's just play c5 right now to anchor the bishop on d4. And this protected passed pawn, assuming I don't blunder under time pressure, should win the game. Let's bring the kingside rook out, and then the king. Okay, now we're going to try to trade everything off because that would be winning for me. So he doesn't allow that, which is smart. But that gives me the d file, which is another plus for black. Okay, let's start advancing the pawns, and if this guy gets to c3, I'll have rook d2 check, followed by rook takes a2 if nothing else. Okay, we will back up the b pawn so that it can continue to defend the c pawn. Alright, and now, gotta find a way to make progress with my king. I think I'll go king f8, king g7, king h6. We should be alright with king g7. I don't think f6 check is anything. f6 check, king h6, e6, I take on e6, he plays e5. Shouldn't be anything there. Why don't we bring this rook up to b6, though, just to make sure. And if king c4, there's b2, which creates a new queen for black. Actually, against king d4, we have the same thing. Alrighty, king h5. King takes h4. Yeah, so what do we want to capture with here? Maybe with the rook, and then bring the rook back to c6. And he can play a check, but I don't think it achieves anything. My king just comes back, and if e6, there's king takes f6. And apart from that, we're going to run the h-pawn of the board. Okay, h4, h3, king g2, h2, Let's block him a little bit, actually. I don't want rook g5 check to happen. And now after h2, if he checks me, I go king h3, and then I make a queen. So that shouldn't be anything. And we may have to mate him with a rook, but with 24 seconds, that should be doable. Alright, let's bring the king back in, make a smaller box, advance my king. Shoot. Haven't done this in a while, as you can tell. Okay, that should be it. Thank you for watching. I guess my tactics are okay after the week's break, which is good news.